Her first novel, Abbott's Fernie, was published in 1906. She would publish a novel every year or two until the end of the 1930s, including 7 in the 1920s. Dangerous Ages won the 1922 Femina Vie Heureuse Prize, a short-lived English equivalent to France's Prix Femina. Macaulay had many literary friends and acquaintances, including Dorothy L. Sayers, Rosamond Lehman, Ivy Compton-Burnett, and Rupert Brooke. She was on the periphery of the Bloomsbury Group, writing a book on the works of E.M. Forster, one of a handful of her books published by Virginia and Leonard Woolf's Hogarth Press. In private, Virginia was occasionally disparaging of Macaulay, calling her a ravaged, sensitive old hack in her diaries, but they had a friendship nonetheless, and Macaulay wrote to Leonard after Virginia died, saying, "She is the one person who should not have died, who could not be spared. No one like her ever was, nor could be." Macaulay never married nor had children, but had a long and secret relationship with a married ex-priest, Gerald O'Donovan. The affair ended only when he died, in 1942. Macaulay herself died suddenly, less than a year after being given a DBE in the 1958 New Year's Honours, and thus becoming Dame Rose Macaulay. Preface. How do women find their place in the world at every stage of life? What do women want from love, or marriage, or work as they get older? How can they find recognition and fulfilment when the place in which they find themselves is not the one they imagined it would be? This addition to the British Library Women Writers series is about searching for meaning and the disappointments and triumphs which can follow a yearning for a different kind of life. In this 11th novel, by the English novelist Rose Macaulay, the author writes as a middle-aged woman in the period between the world wars. She seeks to address the concerns that women of all ages were facing by looking at the relationships, hopes, and regrets of a family of women aged from their 20s to their 80s. Once described as the most prominent spinster in England, Macaulay wrote her novels from the fringes of the Bloomsbury Group and addressed issues which held resonance in her own life. These included the difficulties of the mother and daughter relationship, which has such an important place in Dangerous Ages, and how to navigate unconventional romantic connections. The female characters in the novel have reached dangerous ages, where they're forced to look at how they can reconcile both their ideals and the reality of their lives. They search for a magical middle ground between personal and professional fulfillment, and look for recognition through love, marriage, a career, and even psychoanalysis. Dangerous Ages ends on a strangely melancholic and ambiguous note. Perhaps it's meant to encourage the reader to examine their own place in the world, and what is worth striving for. Reading the novel almost 100 years after it was published allows us to consider how women have always struggled with these questions. Lucy Evans, Curator, Printed Heritage Collections. Chapter 1. Neville's Birthday. 1. Neville, at 5 o'clock, nature's time, not man's, on the morning of her birthday, woke from the dream-broken sleep of summer dawns, hot with the burden of 2 sheets and a blanket, roused by the multitudinous silver calling of a world full of birds. They chattered and bickered about the creeped house, shrill and sweet, like 100 brooks, running together down steep, rocky places after snow. And not like brooks, and strangely unlike birds, like, in fact, nothing in the world except a cuckoo clock. A cuckoo shouted foolishly in the lowest boughs of the great elm across the silver lawn. Neville turned on her face, cupped her small, pale, tanned face in her sunburnt hands, and looked out with sleepy, violet eyes.